Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone, and we've got three awesome decks for you today. Kicking it off with the deck I took into the 50s, actually hitting rank 50 on the Infinite Leaderboard, my highest ever. Turns out streaming is really good for me. I play significantly better when people are watching. I focus because I don't especially like looking bad when I have a whole bunch of people watching me play. I went 7-3 with actually three different decks, two others that we've already covered. One was the deck that runs nothing higher than 3 cost. It used to have Bruce in it, but I decided to run Cassandra Nova. I've actually been crushing with that list. And then another list that we also covered last week. But the list that I felt the best about was this one. I went 7-3 plus 16 cubes, and I flew into the top of the 50s with it. This list felt incredibly strong and incredibly consistent. It had numerous ways to win. It didn't need a lot of tech. Cosmo is the only real tech card here, but it puts up so much power in so many unpredictable ways that it doesn't especially matter. I don't know who made that list. If you do, let me know, but I piloted it, and you can find me piloting it on twitch.tv/PulseGlazer. There's also a YouTube VOD of that if you're interested in checking that out. This deck needs Galacta, Elsa, Hope, and Zabu. That's 4 high series cards, but 2 are actually all 4 are former season pass cards, but they just gave Elsa to everyone. If you don't have Thena, you can run Kate Bishop or Psylocke. If you don't have Gwenpool, you can run Shang-Chi. You can find another tech card that makes sense. I don't think it should be Shadow King. Juggernaut would make some sense here as well. Turn 1, you want to play Zabu over Kitty over Nightcrawler. Turn 2 is, generally speaking, Angela's turn if you have her. You will still drop Zabu if you have both Galacta and Gwenpool in your deck, but outside of that, Angela over Thena. Turn 3 is, if you can get out Galacta or Gwenpool early, please do so. If not, Hope over Elsa over 2+1. The extra energy from Hope is huge. Elsa's extra power is really, really easy to multi-trigger using multiple different cards here, particularly Kitty and Nightcrawler. Turn 4 is, generally speaking, Galacta or Gwenpool, but unlike other decks where you don't see Galacta or Gwenpool, like the hand buff decks where you just sort of have to run, you can still compete. You can go 2+2 or 3+1. You can go Hope and Kitty, Elsa and Kitty at that point, or you can go Angela and Thena, perfectly fine. Turn 5, Iron Man or Galacta and a 1, or Hope, Elsa, and a 2 are all for fine plays. And then turn 6, you just sort of play everything that makes sense. If you have a Hope really going, you can end up getting like 7 or 8 energy on the last turn of the game. And if you're able to get that like 7 energy on the last turn of the game, you can often end with like Iron Man and then just an extra card. Don't feel obliged to have to Thena unless you've clogged that lane on the last turn of the game. You're often getting more power just from playing extra cards instead of getting the extra 3 power on Thena herself. Cool. After this, it's time to transform with Voltron. But one last look at this list. This list is incredible. I cannot urge you to play it enough. This feels like the old Sizer mini mover list that he brought back a few seasons ago. I don't know who made, again, this exact version, but it is absolutely singing right now. Play this deck. Someone who watched me play it immediately got an Infinity ticket with it while I was playing it. This is really great. We're going to ask you to hit that sub button if you're willing right before the new year. We're trying to hit 25,000 subs in 2025, and we need your support to get there. So hit that sub. We do 7 days a week of Marvel Snap videos. We never miss a day. So make sure you hit that sub button if you want at least 3 brand new decks every single day. And we're giving away 5 season passes this week. That's right, 5 of Iron Patriot. This week's most viewers are people that have been with the channel for a long time. So we give away 5 this week and 5 next week. Next week, we get a whole bunch of new people coming in to try and win the season pass. So this one's for our loyal followers. All you have to do is sub and like. Later in this video, I'm going to ask a question. You answer that question in the comments. You are entered to win Iron Patriots. Next up, we have Roram's Voltron. Roram is a top 20 player in Marvel Snap, and he has been crushing with this unbelievably cool Voltron list. This list is fundamentally saying, I can do 2 things extraordinarily well, and if I do either of them, it's very hard to beat, because Shadow King is not really common in the meta right now. In fact, playing all night, I saw one who ran Shadow King. Basically, what you want to do is you want to build your own Multiple Man or build your own Human Torch. If you can make a big Human Torch, you play Tribunal, spread it out, and win. If you build a big Multiple Man, you play Heimdall, move those all around and win. That's it. That's all you need to do. That is stupidly simple as a way to win games of Marvel Snap, right? You have an absolute ton of power. The only, like, there's very few extra cards that aren't either combining um or the move enablers, right? So you've got Ghost Spider, Aranya, Doctor Strange as the only, and I guess Penny as the only real move enablers. Everything else sort of combines onto that Torch or Multiple Man, so you have space for the Heimdall, space for the Tribunal. That just wins the damn game. No one's gonna expect this coming. It is awesome. Play it. You can find Roram at twitch.tv/RoramPlays, again in the top 20 of the Infinite Leaderboard. This deck needs Agony, Penny Parker, Madam Web, Symbiote Spider-Man, and Tribunal, making it a more expensive list, sorry, but it is worth it because it is ridiculously, ridiculously cool. Ghost Spider or Aranya can be Iron Fist for this list, but outside of that, you just need the high series stuff. Roram went 21-12 with this, a 64% win rate, which is again super high at high infinite. Turn 1, you want Agony or Aranya, Torch if Penny, and you don't have anything else good. Because you can go Torch into Penny into Spider on Torch, and then you now have, you move that once, you now have a 10 power Human Torch, you apply another, you drop a Symbiote on that on turn 4, that'll be 17 power, you move that one more time, you've got 34, let's say you go Ghost Spider, now it's 34, and then you go Doctor Strange, now it's, I don't know, 128, which is what you're going to be wanting to Tribunal. That feels like it's probably good. People will also be playing around stuff like Zola, and you just win. All right, so that's your turn 1. That's a whole play pattern. Turn 2, you generally speaking want Madam Web. Madam Web is amazing. You can also just move Torch or Multiple Man. You can drop Multiple Man on Agony. You can drop Torch on Agony, or you can just drop Penny. Turn 3 is Further Move. Turn 4 is Symbiote on Torch or Multiple Man. That is your big turn for that. You can also end up doing that on turn 5, but it is harder because you really want to play Ghost Spider slash name a card, Doctor Strange on turn 5. So this is the last moves. You trigger it on your round now, and you just get a ton of power. And then turn 6 is either Heimdall or Tribunal, whichever makes sense. If it's Multiple Man, you usually want Heimdall. If not, you usually want Tribunal. You can split the difference between Torch and Multiple Man, making both reasonably big, and then just winning that way. But the safest thing to do is to go all in on one and just put a ton of power, because Tribunal is basically a guarantee win if you get the Torch stuff going, and Multiple Man with a million different Multiple Men is like 20 high 20s power in each lane with Heimdall. So feel free to play it that way. You can even compete in the right lane, by the way, because Heimdall's going to send those Multiple Men away, but they're all going to come back, so you end up with like a 25-30 power lane there. This is awesome. Next up, we've got Thor, which is a wonderful name for Loki, I do think. But one last look at this. This is the coolest Symbiote Spider-Man deck. We saw, who was it? Big Baby with a version of this like a month and a half back, but it wasn't the right meta. Roram found the right build and the right meta. It is here. Play this list. People must fear this. They must put Shadow King back in, or this is absolutely going to farm the infinite leaderboard, or your way to infinite. Season pass question. First, nice and simple. What you doing for New Year's Eve? What are your plans? We will have a video up, obviously, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, but what are you doing for New Year's Eve? Also, we might have a second video up later today with some extra voltage decks. We've already covered like 15, 20 voltage decks, but I'm aiming for a second video later today with voltage decks, assuming there's time. In addition, please check out a stream at twitch.tv/PulseGlazer or right here on YouTube. I am dual streaming on both. Twitch just honestly pays a little better, so please feel free to check those out if you are inclined to watch me either build these videos, build Series 3 decks, or play games of Marvel Snap. Hey look, this is my going live screen. Nice, right? Okay, this is Thor. Crimeafoot is a top 200-ish player on the Infinite Leaderboard who is very, very good. He's a streamer, and he's put together this Loki Thor's list that's sort of reminiscent of the safety versions of this, except it does something else that's really, really cool. What these decks fundamentally are trying to do is they're trying to say, okay, I've got Eitri and Loki, right? If I've got Eitri and Loki, I've got an extra draw on my Loki. That's great. And because you've got Eitri, you might as well run the Thors. So you got Thor, Jane, and Beta Ray Bill. The rest of the deck is mostly filled up with tech. We've got Red Guardian, we've got Shang, we've got Shadow King. We've also got just a casual Valentina because sometimes it wins games. Juggernaut's a lane winner too, and Copycat's a game winner, right? The opponent cannot possibly predict Copycat. Nico is the big swing card here. What Nico does is she gives you a potential draw 2, and on top of Loki, that's absolutely incredible, right? If you get that draw 2 and you don't see your stuff to get your hammers, or you do see Loki and you just want more cards, Nico is all of a sudden a game-winning card, and that's absolutely brilliant. You can find Crimeafoot playing this and many other lists at twitch.tv/Crimeafoot. He was also on the podcast this weekend, so if you check the podcast from Saturday morning, it's also on every podcatcher, Snap Judgments Pod, you will hear Crimeafoot and myself talking about Marvel Snap. This deck needs both Beta Ray Bill and Loki. Valentina can be Cable or Mirage. Eitri or Nico can be Quinjet, but I wouldn't play it without one of the two. And Red Guardian or Copycat can be Agent Coulson or Killmonger. Yes, you run 2/1s, but there's Killmonger's just really, really good into the meta right now, and your 1s are 1/2s, and opponents' 1s are often like 1/16s, right? So you take that trade with Killmonger if you decide to run. All right, so 53 and 40 with this list, 93 games, 57% win rate. Awesome. Turn 1, you want Eitri. Nico is if you have the draw 2. Turn 2, Loki or Valentina, and you will play Loki if you have Eitri or draw 2 anywhere up to turn 4. Turn 3, you want Thor over Copycat. If you do play Thor and you have Eitri out, just immediately trigger it. Don't wait. Get your damn Mjolnir, unless Jane is in hand, I guess. Turn 4, Beta Ray Bill over Red Guardian or the Valentina card, depending on what Red Guardian hits, obviously. Turn 5, you want Jane Foster. And then turn 6, Hammers and Juggernaut and whatever other tech card you can, usually Shadow King. Then you should win. It's a ton of power. It's really consistent. You have all the control cards in the world to make sure you win. Your guys scale up. You get their cards, but cheaper. A lot of ways to win. Loki is slowly creeping his way back into the meta after fundamentally disappearing after he went down from a 3-5 and lost his draw. Stream Team! If you'd like to see gameplay from these decks, please check out some of our friends. Obihaved will have a video up on YouTube with yesterday's decks, while Gregor2424 will later on today be, well, depending on when you watch this, be streaming at 12 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you go check Gregor out, please. Questions of the day. Our first question is from Joseph Grill. Do you think they'll ever change Loki again? Yep. I think Loki could honestly stand to have 2-ish power added to him, 1 to 2 power added to him. He is a Series 5 card. He's very expensive. He's a former Season Pass card. He's one of the meta's defining cards. He's also one of Marvel's most popular cards and most desirable cards. Having him out of the meta doesn't really suit Second Dinner. I fully expect him to, if not get his draw re-added, for him to at least be a 2-3 or a 2-4 relatively soon. That would be my guess. He is coming back, but I do think he could use a little bit more. It's really rough to play a 1-2 into a 2-2 and then be like, yay, I can win. Yes, that happens sometimes, but you're so punished for anything playing him later that I do assume he'll be a little bit better. Granite Nodal asks if I read comics. So I used to read an absolute ton of comics. I had a pull list, yada, yada, yada. I read almost every Marvel DC comic. And then right around the New 52, my comic shop closed. I read a lot of New 52 books, and honestly, I hated most of them. They felt like bad 90s comics instead of good modern comics. So I basically stopped reading comics for a while. I read some stuff on Marvel Unlimited. I kept up on all of the Hickman X-Men stuff. There's a comic shop by my apartment. I decided to get 5 comics on a pull list. I have the most basic B stuff ever. I've got 2 or 3 X books, Uncanny, Adjective List, and then NYX, Fantastic Four, and Avengers as my whole pull list. Nice and simple. I'm debating adding Exceptional X-Men. We'll see how I feel about that down the line. But, anything else. I'm trying not to make it huge. I don't have all the free time in the world. I don't know if you know this, but I have a full-time job of family and stream, and do a video every day. But, yeah, that's what I'm reading right now. Fantastic Four is, I think, the best book right now. Unfortunately, the Emperor Doom thing was completely sold out, so I was not able to get that. I would have liked to have read that. I really, really like Ryan North. His How to Invent Everything is one of my favorite books I've ever read. So, yeah, I don't know. Also, please check out How to Invent Everything by Ryan North. It is delightful and ridiculously, ridiculously fun and smart. Reminder to any of you who are on your Series 3 journey, please feel free to join the Discord. On our Discord, we have a spot where if you put your collection in, I will make a document for you that'll have 4 or 5 decks, and then suggestions about what to target as far as Series 4 cards, Series 5 cards, and Spotlight caches. If that sounds good to you, please join the Discord, and you can follow the instructions there to do what you need to. Certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with on-air thanks. I'm going to say thank you to a whole lot of people. Thank you to Abigail Geeslin, Mandatory Burnout, A Burnout, Regardless, David G. Wingfield, Dirty Casual, Dan Don, Always Kind, LAB, FaThorNewman, Good Dog Gamer, Inc., I Am Frostman, Je Lovely, Thinking, YOLO, Potato, sorry, Potato, Thinking Poker, Primed Ryan, Ryan Burke, and Ryan Wood, all the Ryans, Caretix Lee, Koire, Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, Pyrofros, The Goat Seeker, Hallowed, Quid Pro Joe, Snap Decisions Joe, Fat Nick, Mr. Kerfuffle, Cables, Ginger Prime, Philip Rakovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, Rob Silverman, The Bizza, Black Jeebus 23, XRC, and Skippy G, Jessica Gamble, Timmy Nyquist, The King of Bros, The Great Kazoo, Werewolf, hey Werewolf, thanks for hanging earlier, KFC Hoda, Ludacris, Corwin, John Q, and Jimmy McHugh, Cute Down, Clam, Colonel Forbin, Stout, 8th, Sage, Mod Supreme Models, The Green Goblin, Unibot, hey Uni, Flan 56, sup Flan, Steven, Brian Kaufman, we got up to rank 83 hanging out earlier, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B. Jake D. McDonaldino, The Fuzzy Donald, Spectrumix, Hoot, who managed to miss me playing on stream. He watched the stream exactly when I wasn't playing only, which sucked, but whatever. Matt H, DJ, Mikey, Hijinks, No Flex, Ocularis, hey Ocularis, Mr. Craigsterry, BG, Zodrex, the King of Canada, 10, Mad Falcon, Jonesy, Two Ties, the Great Lord Whatevs, the Pirate King Tuccrr, and of course Gunny T, where the T stands for you can sub just by pressing that button at the middle of the screen. We also have all the voltage decks you could need on the left of the screen, and the right of the screen is yesterday's video if you missed it. See you tomorrow for some more Snap Take on New Year's Eve. Hopefully your plans are good. Peace.